What the hell's going on, you guys? It is Tuba Player Negative AE, and welcome back to another episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last we left off, we had just finished Chapter 3, and I was interested in playing Shion in the next one, but I guess I was informed that this is another question arc, and we don't play a Shion until the next chapter, which is disappointing, but this chapter is all about Rika, or at least I think it is. Also, if you haven't heard it already, you can probably already hear in my voice that um, I'm losing it. So you're going to hear a lot of me not sounding normal. So I apologize for that. And I'm going to try my best to read. I know visual novels aren't the best to do while you're losing your voice. But I'm going to try my hardest. So we're going to see what's going on. And if it annoys people, I'm sorry. I'll try to read very normally. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. I now entrust you with Midori's Hidakia. However comical it may be, if you have reached any conjecture, then you have passed. This final novel is a meager reward for you. Conjecture is impossible. You have the right to reject this story. What the fuck does that mean? Why? I have the right to reject the story? What does that even mean? Can someone translate this into English for me? Alright, let's just go. Let's just play the game. Voice acting should be enabled. I think I've set everything up. I have a thumbnail. Let's read this. Who's the criminal, you ask? Don't we search for them in the story? Who is the criminal, you ask? Do you even know what the criminal did? Who's the criminal? Who's the criminal? Who will kill me now? Are those actual fucking quotes that like actual people said? Or is that like quotes that the game is making up? I had misread the time and ended up arriving too early. The schedule board had flipped with a series of clacks. My flight to Sapporo was still a little bit later on. I had over an hour before boarding. Well, I might as well close my eyes a bit on that bench over there then. I came here directly from work, so maybe the fatigue from that was making me sleepy. Finding a suitable bench, I put my luggage on the seat next to me and settled down. Sighed like an old man. I had hoped to stay young forever, but had become splendidly middle-aged. Apparently, the rumor that even people in the later half of their 20s experience a decline in their physical strength wasn't a lie. Oh, that worries me. Okay. It had been mind-numbingly busy at work lately, so I rarely had time to myself. This might have been the first time I was able to enjoy a journey alone since I was a student. The reason behind this trip was to meet with an old friend. It was a bit strange to call him an old friend. In fact, it might be better to call him a bad one. After retiring a couple years ago, he moved to Sapporo, his mother's hometown. His mother passed away soon after, and he was now peacefully enjoying his second lease on life. His name was Corrado Oishi. He was a former detective from the primary investigation unit at the station in Okonomiya XX Prefecture. To be honest, the only direct contact we ever had didn't last more than 3 days. After that, we exchanged New Year's cards, but we never met again. So this would be the first time meeting him in 7 years. In other words, we met 7 years ago, in 1978. There was something I just had to ask, to talk to him about concerning that time. To explain that it was impossible not to recall the incident that happened back then. The kidnapping, the details and the resolution of which were resigned into darkness. It was also impossible not to recall a certain mysterious girl. My name... Okay, so we got a new character. My name is Momoru Akasaka. Oh my god, they're making me work. Akasaka? Mamoru Akasaka. Okay. It was a year that had been strangely hot, even though it was only June. I mean, June's pretty late into the summer. early summer. That's like, at least over here. Hello.
はい、さよ。車に気をつけるんですよ。お友達の家に寄り道なんかしな。明日の教科書の準備は必ず寝る前にしておくんですよ。
Clatter, clatter. The lively sounds of children running towards the hallway.
でさ、つってんだぜ。
そんなの俺持ってるわよ。いらねえよ。
Unique high-pitched voice of youth. The energetic shrill of the cicadas went completely unheard by their ears. Children returning home from school split off one by one from their groups of friends as they went through the intersection in the residential area. Even though there were several of them in a group, as they left the school, they got closer and closer to their homes. Their numbers dwindled. That's why the fewer friends you were walking home with acted as an indicator that you were much closer to your destination.
じゃあな、会うわよ。
また明日ね。
He finally parted his ways with his last friend. A van was parked at the bend in the road. The window was open, the sound of the radio leaking outside. Must have been the news or something.
たため、道路交通法違反、公務執行妨害、一連のひなみ沢ダム建設反対をめぐる運動は、先月の機動隊との流血事件を境に過激化の一途をたどっており、警察では過激な活動家による次の事件を警戒しています。
So this is kind of like a prequel. Right?
先週も建設省庁舎前での犬飼建設大臣への直訴事件があったばかりで、
I mean, the whole thing happens, the whole story usually happens in 1980 something, right? And this is in 1970 something, so this is a full couple years before, if not like 10 years before. The boys perked up at the mention of the name, a new guy, minister, a new guy, on the steps of the ministry construction. At that moment, a man's face peeked out suddenly from the window out of the van. His behavior was a little different than that of a man looking around to see if there was any incoming traffic before he opened the door of his vehicle. His eyes meeting suddenly with the unfamiliar man, the boy panicked slightly.
ウグイス OK。
ひばり OK。前後2ブロック確保した。
Fucking Skylark, what the fuck? is that you, Chip? Chip Skylark? They've secured the 2 blocks around us. As you can see, if I try to go any more high-pitched than the voice that I am speaking in currently, my voice will crack like crazy. The man in the passenger seat whispered quietly. Nodding in acknowledgement, the man opened the door and stood before the boy.
君、
I feel like
犬飼
Kratos.
俊樹君？
I feel like I'm Kratos. Are you Toshiki Anugai-kun? That is the weirdest name I've ever heard of in my entire life. While asking that, the man peered at the boy's name tag. Toshiki Anugai. The name was written plainly there. Okay. Yes. The phone rang for a third time. If he reached out, he could easily pick up the receiver. However, he was concerned that if he picked it up before it had even finished ringing once, whoever was on the other end of the line would think him a fairly cheap person. That's why he normally never picked up the phone until the third ring. Even he thought it was a worthless habit. However, his thinking that there isn't much meaning in waiting for just 3 rings, wouldn't waiting for all 5 be alright? It was very much a reality. His mind filled with such trifling thoughts, he picked up the phone after the 3rd ring had finished, and its reverb dampened by his action.
はい。もしもし。
So, this intro is all the fuck over the place. Jesus Christ. So there was a kid. There's like, is that you? Someone stepped out in front of him, and then now we're at a phone. It's someone else. Or it's him again in the future. I don't know.
もしもし
Sometimes due to a malfunction, the switchboard calls didn't connect well. At those times, it was best to hang up and let the person on the other end call again. Thinking that, the moment he began to hang up the phone, sensed that he was definitely connected. After all, he felt the presence of the person on the other end of the line, being silent.
もしもし
There's no way they didn't hear his question. What was the meaning of this? It wasn't like he didn't know that people could use silent calls to harass others. However, he'd never received a call like that until today. Maybe he was just unlucky before, but he didn't believe that he would receive such a call on this phone. There were no direct calls to or from this line. Everything had to go through an operator. Therefore, there was absolutely no way the call would be connected unless it was verified there was someone else on the line, other end of the line. That's why he didn't understand how to deal with this silent call, and instead settled into confusion.
あんた誰だか知らないがまたかけ直してください
Intending that to be a parting line, he made to slam down the receiver. It was at that moment the person on the other end spoke for the first time.
あなたが名乗ってくれないから困ってんですよ。あんたが犬飼大臣じゃないなら、さっさと電話を切ってください。
Why would you say that? If you're not Miss Minister and new guy, please hang up right now. Why would you say that? Because now I'm curious, right? If I'm the person on the other line, my first instinct is to just be like, "Oh yeah, that's me. What? Why? What's going on?" You know. Although I might be scared of like a conspiracy, but honestly, at this point, it's like you're calling my phone, so. So I'm Minister, a new guy now. He couldn't help but be surprised by the extremely strange voice on the other end of the line. Was there a human alive who could speak with this hoarse and metallic voice? No. This was a voice he had heard somewhere before. This was the kind of voice that was on those lowbrow documentaries that they'd use when they wanted to hide the identity of a speaker, wasn't it? The voice he was hearing over the line was exactly like that.
あんた
やだ。それはこっちがあんた。犬飼大臣じゃないの。
He, a new guy, hesitated to answer. Unable to discern the intent of the suspicious phone call, he had a vague feeling that something was off. He thought about hanging up the phone and asking the operator who initiated the call. However, he forced himself to restrain that urge, and for the time being, he chose to state his name and listen.
そうです
That's right.
犬飼です
This is a new guy.
名乗りましたよ
I said my name. Now you say yours.
私の名前なんてどうでも。まず、あなたがどういう立場に置かれているか。あなたは今、自分の席で知ってるわ。あなたの席の右側の一番下の引き出しを開けてみてください。
The lowest drawer to the right of the minister's chair. There was a lock on it, not enough to function as a safe, but nevertheless it was a drawer that contained some valuable things. That's why a new guy thought that the person wanted some of the important information contained within that drawer.
自分の名前も名乗れんやつの言いなりになる言われはない
Okay.
引き出しを開けてくれないなら、この電話を切るわ。と、後悔することになりますよ。まずは引き出しを開けてから考えてもいいんじゃないですか。
The new guy didn't like following orders from the suspicious person one bit. However, he was concerned about what the man had said about regretting it, so he decided to open the drawer. He took the small key he kept stowed in his wallet and unlocked the drawer. His hand stopped right before he opened it. What if there was a bomb inside, and it would explode if the drawer was open? That delusion took hold of him. Quelled that instinct and opened it.
開けてくれましたか。そこにあるものが何かわかり。
これはどういうことだおい
どういうことか説明する必要なんかないですよね。時間を差し上げますので、 また後ほどこちらから連絡。それでは失礼。
おい待て、もしもしもしもし。
The call had already ended. That would not change no matter how much he yelled at it. Even still, the new guy, without realizing that, continued yelling into the receiver for a while. The drawer was still open. On top of the folders crammed into the drawer, it lay there. Oshiki, the new guy, written in plain lettering on a grade schooler's name tag, just lying there. Shrine there, completely out of place, as if it were cowering. So they took his son. Is that what I'm getting at? They were just like, oh, well, we took your son, so fuck you. Do we know a new guy? Has his name popped up before? Like, I'm genuinely asking if his name has popped up before. Because I don't know if he was maybe... What the fuck? Yuki? What are we, fucking Mirai Nikki? Because I don't know if he was maybe part of the Damn Project, so I don't know, maybe we've heard his name before. Okay. Do you remember Yuki? This picture. This is where I first proposed to you. That brief moment before you nodded back. You probably wouldn't know just how much it seemed like an eternity to me. Yes. I would have never thought the amount of time could feel like an eternity. Compared to how long I had to wait for you to propose to me, it was... Ha 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 ha. From the moment I met you until today, compared to the first time I've spent, compared to the time I spent when I was born, it might only be for a brief period, but those were definitely precious, beautiful days that deserve to be called an eternity. That time continues even now. From now on, I wonder if it'll be a boy, or maybe a girl. Either one is fine. Boy or girl, it doesn't matter. Either way, it's living proof that we love each other. If it's a boy, we'll name it after you, Mamoru. If it's a girl, we'll put the name Yuki, with my name and hers. Thinking about names is so fun that we end up still, in the end, we still haven't decided yet. There's still time to puzzle over it. Not that long of a time, of course, actually. Man, I cannot read. You see, Yuki, there's something I have to apologize for today. I'm going to stab the fuck out of you. It's my job to kill you. Sorry. It looks like an annoying bit of work has come up. In the worst case, might not be able to be there for the delivery. It's fine. You have a very important job. What you do protects the way we live. Compared to you, it's nothing. Please, go ahead. When you return, I'll be waiting there with our child. Thank you. Also, I'm sorry. Please don't apologize. If you feel guilty about it, then you can just atone. I literally cannot speak any higher than this voice. It's crazy. If I atone that much, no matter how much money I have, it won't be enough. Hee hee. It's a joke. Now, go on. As I left the room, I bumped into an elderly man. It was Yuki's father. In other words, my father-in-law.
お父さん、邪魔する気はなかったからな。廊下で待たせてもらったよ。聞き耳を立てるつもりはなかったが。生きたまえ、ユキエは。ああいう娘、何があっても自分が君の枷になることを望むまい。私はこれまでユキエに様々な犠牲を強いてきました。
Did we ever get the guy who died first's name?
出産という人生の節目にまで。
He's just the damn construction leader, right? But then, like, we're getting some new characters. That's all I gotta say. We're getting some, like, crazy new characters here.
君が仕事を投げ出して付き添ってくれるよりもありがとうございます。君がとても大切な自分の仕事、ユキエは君が見事。はい。
That means he's not going to return. That means he's gone. Alright, here we go. He's dead. I jumped into the taxi and then immediately drove off a cliff because a little girl was inside or on the steering wheel. Or someone crashed into the car. What did it say? I jumped into the taxi that was waiting outside. Compared to the time when I first got there, the numbers on the fare meter had grown considerably. It seemed the modest time Yuki and I had spent together wasn't so modest from an objective point of view. The taxi jerked as it changed gears to accelerate, soon burying the hospital with my wife was left behind in a throng of buildings. If it was to end up as a really troublesome ordeal, I probably wouldn't be returning for quite some time. To call a rookie like me on top of that, one who's off duty, it seemed that the section chief was calling for all hands on deck. The veteran upper brass gathering on an emergency basis happened occasionally. This was the first time, though, that I had experienced everyone gathering together like this. Whatever's happening there, no doubt, was going to be something novel. Right when my wife was ready to give birth. If I wanted to spend time to curse my misfortunes, I'd be here all day. Even the verdant ginkgo trees lining the street that brightened my mood seemed to lack some of their usual luster. Eventually, the government office came into view. Briefly holding my breath, I let the feelings of tension course through my body once again. I had to remember the work I was doing was important, necessary, and difficult. I composed myself and sharpened my wit. Ready. The taxi stopped in front of the building. I feel like an announcer for a video game. 2 players. Or Morgan Freeman. I don't know what I sound like. Because I can only hear inside my head, so I don't know. I have to listen to this back and see how I actually sound. It's probably annoying as fuck. Chief, everyone's here. That is one fucking mouthful of a name, dude. Akasaka-kun. Akasaka-kun. That is so fucking crazy. Could you please close the blinds? The blinds were usually closed when they needed to use the projector or if the discussion was going to contain some particularly disturbing content. The blinds closed with a satisfying sound, darkening the interior of the room. Immediately, the inside of the room was completely drained of all the pleasant morning atmosphere, leaving behind only the cold illumination of the fluorescent lighting. The supervisor ensured everyone that everyone was present, and he nodded to the section chief once again. With everybody on the edge of their seats, the chief stood up solemnly and began to give his report. It seemed that approximately 48 hours earlier, the Minister of Construction's grandson... wait. That's interesting. Okay, yes, sure. And those of the senior staff members were kidnapped. The reason why it was phrased that way was because the person in question didn't admit it had happened. Here they admitted the details that brought this incident to light. If you think about it a bit, that meant that before this incident happened, the minister's residence had been under surveillance already. I won't use the word. Why? Why would you use those words? You just said them. You already said the words in the parentheses. I don't understand. Of course, there wouldn't have been court approval for this, and it would be very hard to explain to ordinary citizens. However, it was quite an effective method to catch wind of incidents before they got worse. I'd like for you to understand that dealing with these cases before they become a problem is the job of the Public Safety Division.
なぜ警察に通報せず要求を鵜呑みに。大臣たる者は警察を信用できないってんだから。
犯人グループは誘拐初期に自分たちが大臣の生活をかなり高度に大臣が屈服し、
警察へ通報してもすぐにわかるぞって。大臣の近辺に内通者がいる可能性。
So with the higher-ranking minister members who seem to have high experience with this sort of thing let out deep
犯
sighs.
人グループの目的が要求にあるのか、事件いずれにせよ国益を脅かす事態に発展する可能
If
性
their
が
goal
極めて
was
高い。
not to gain, then that would have been nice. However, if this was some politically motivated shakeup, then things would get a lot more
被
complicated.
害者の協力がないということは、脅迫内容も要求も一切不明ということか。
本件は内通者の水準がかなり高いと思われるため、当室のみの極秘、また本件は本日より最優先事項とよろしいですね。
After that, the supervisor continued on, tactfully explaining the course of action. If this incident were to become public, it was possible the minister's political life would be over. I'll spare you the explanation of how the rest of the dominoes would fall, but in the end, support and the Diet would decline, followed by a no-confidence vote in the snap election, and it might even expand communist influences. In other words, we had to handle this delicately.
川崎と佐伯は大臣宅子供宅の通話を24時間監視、大臣の動向を探れ、動きがあるたびに逐一報告せよ。残る各職員は担当団体ごとに本件との関連を調査。最近動きが不穏な特殊ラインは集中的にやれ。それから外国勢力も水を漏らすな。
I've experienced one or two unamicable situations before. This, however, was the first time I've seen things get so hectic. Several sophisticated conversations were progressing without the involvement of a rookie like me. I didn't intend to be timid, but I couldn't hide my confusion at this unfamiliar situation
だが柿内に言ってくれ。
and cover that.
赤坂君は
I snapped back to alertness upon hearing my name being called.
赤坂君は大臣に陳情してきた環境保護団体関連を調査してくれ。中でも新聞でも騒ぎになってるひなみ沢ダム建設反対の団体をよく調査すること。住民団体の仕業とは到底思えないが。わかりました。直接現地へ行った方がいいだろう。現地県警で情報を取れ。
Oh, dude, I'm gonna die.
かなり過激な団体らしく。
I'm finna die right now.
わかりました。現地へ出向します。
奥さん、出産控えてるんだ。こんなタイミングで申し訳ないけど、時間がかけられないから、人海戦術でそう。
ええ、わかってます。
Yeah, I'm
家
gonna
内は
die.
自分の都合が私の仕事に触ることを嫌いますから。
すまん。それから、川崎君、佐伯君、君たちの応援には。
I didn't want to take a business trip when my wife was about to give birth. Even if I was a little busy, as long as I was in Tokyo, I could head to the hospital right away. On assignment, though, that would be difficult. Even so, I knew the work I was doing was important, and I fully understood that I was in no position to be selfish. I'd have to make it up to my wife for having to be away at such an important time. My wife, Yuki, would probably forgive me with a smile. The only thing she could hate doing would be holding me back. My male ego, though, at least wished she would have tried to stop me. Sorry, Yuki. Don't mind if you always complain to our child that their father couldn't come to the hospital when they were born because he was too busy with work. The next day, I took the bullet train to Nagoya, and from there I transferred to the train to XX Prefecture. Getting to my destination by land took several hours. If I was traveling by air in that amount of time, I could probably get as far as Hong Kong. XX Prefecture was by no means close. I'd never sat in first class except for work, but whenever I did, the seats seemed stiff. Closing my eyes, I mentally reviewed the documents I had read yesterday. The group under investigation, the Onagafuchi Defense Alliance. They were a group of residents opposed to the development posed under the Hinamizawa Dam project. The local protests were quite heated and were getting more radicalized. Even limited to what was written in the newspapers, there was more bloodshed that occurred during a clash with riot police interference with the dam construction to account. There was bloodshed that occurred during a clash with riot police interference with the dam construction to account. Interesting. The number of petitions, sit-ins, and direct appeals to the relevant organizations were innumerable. As an extension of that, there was the direct appeal to the Minister of Construction the other day.
これがそもそも今回この団体を調査することになったゆえんだ。
Interesting. The land they lived on was going to be submerged, so it was no wonder they would go into a frenzy over it. Given that, though, they could be really capable of doing something like kidnapping the Minister of Construction. Wait, could they really be capable? Yes, they could. And part of me wants to see Rena, like, alive before all this, you know? Like, she hasn't aged one bit. She's just there still. And then, because that would confirm that she's, like, a non-aging demon who just is there all the time. Anyway. This kidnapping plot was extremely sophisticated and complicated enough that it was believed that there was some sort of political backing. This wasn't something that could be pulled off by some group of local protesters. Well, just like the chief said, the plan was to eliminate all possibilities. While I'm in the XX police's reference room taking my time investigating, the higher-ups in Tokyo would probably solve the case without my involvement entirely. No, you're finna die right here. This man's like, oh, well, by the time I get back, they're gonna solve the shit. But no, he's just gonna die. That's my prediction here. Alright. I feel like throughout this episode, my voice is maybe getting better, or maybe it's exactly the same, but I feel like maybe my voice is getting better. Or worse, maybe it's getting worse, and that's what I'm sensing. I don't know. This was work. There was really nothing that I could do. Ding dong. Announcement that we would be soon arriving at our destination. Snap me back into wakefulness. XX Prefecture. Public Safety.
鬼ヶ淵死守同盟ですか?
Okay, guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I know it's only 32 minutes. Let me know what you guys think. I haven't adjusted the volume at all, so this is just kind of base volume. I do have the music up a little loud because, like I said, I haven't adjusted the sound ranges at all. If you want the music to come down a little bit, let me know. I know that I didn't want to record too much before I left, or before I, checked in with you guys about the sound. So let me know about the sound. I'm sorry about the voice once again. I'm a little sick, like I said before, and I'm losing my voice, and I can already feel it escaping me as we speak. Oh my God, I'm about to lose it completely. Anyway, I mean, we got a whole bunch of new characters today, obviously. That's just kind of what happened. We got Momoru with the crazy last name. What was his name? I have no idea. We got that guy. We also got his wife Yuki, so that's interesting. I wonder if Yuki's going to play a big role, because they obviously are having a child, right? But then it's like, I don't remember if I've heard Inagu or Nugai's name before, because we also met him, and I guess his son is kidnapped. And I don't remember if the son is the one that gets dismembered and moved, or if it's the minister, or who. I thought it was like the head of construction or something. I don't remember. It's been a while, so I don't know. Update me with any information that you think might be useful for this chapter, because I'll probably need to do a quick refresher by skimming my videos in order to do that. I just I'm trying to remember if I've heard any of these people's names before, and I don't remember any of them. But I do remember. So it seems like this is very much going to be a well, this opening looks very much like a prequel. I wonder if we're gonna go play Keiichi again still. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode of Higurashi When They Cry. I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm sorry that the uploads have been kind of scarce lately. I've been skipping a lot of the uploads, and the main reason is because I'm not like in the most awake position after I get home from work, so I just kind of like want to go to sleep, or like I'll play like something quick on my Switch or something, and then I'll go to bed. So I'm not really into like recording sometimes, but I promise you, I'm gonna keep recording and keep uploading. We're gonna finish this fucking game, and then we're gonna move on to something else. I don't know what we're gonna play next, but there's still a lot to go before I even think about what I'm gonna play next. So thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed today's video. Also subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. My name is Tubo Player NegativeAE, and I have an announcer voice. See you later, guys.